Hello everybody, my name is Trollmaker, and this is Wargame Red Dragon. I will be doing a battle cast, and this is not ranked, this is just a pub stomping match, with a twist, of course. So this is actually full-on Day versus WTF. Representing Day, we have Topspin 2005, their leader, Falcon BZH22, Captain Drake, and Vinsky. And for the WTF side, we have Vodoinstatter, who is actually Rebar. We have Choban, who is Dirty D. We have Mr. Jen, who is Proslo, and we have Spectre. Now, the reason why they changed their names is because there's a lot of bad blood between these two teams, and in order for this match to take place, they have to pretend that they are somebody else, and they did that, and Day has taken them up on this challenge. So the last time these guys met was 3v3 Tournament of Glorious Design in Wargame Airland Battle, and it was very one-sided. Very, very one-sided. We'll have to see what we're going to see today. This map, however, is very Airland Battle-like. It's pretty linear. There's a lot of choke points, and by choke points, I mean like this. This is a pretty nasty choke, in which you can set up a lot of AT to kind of deflect a lot of positions. And these maps with tons of chokes are kind of problematic. The nice thing with these is the mountains. There's tons of mountains everywhere. So that means they can kind of send infantry around the mountains to flank various positions, which is very, very useful and highly underused in the current game. And there's also a few neat features. This Foxtrot area, you can place an infantry command here and here. And you can have this point be completely neutralized just by having infantry. You don't have to grab these kind of choke points here. You can completely play the map. As well as seeing this Gulf area, you can put an infantry here and cancel that out. And same sort of thing here. You can cancel this point out, but not nearly as easily. So there's a lot of places you can attack into, and there's also a lot of areas you can defend. And these guys have one of the largest rivalries in the game, so hopefully that comes out in this match. Looking at the loadout for Day, it looks like they have a lot of tanks here and some rolling threes. They might try and do a push. They also have some helicopters, and there's actually 2 anti-tank helicopters, so very confident they're going to be able to grab those forward positions. Anti-tank infantry, of course, very powerful, but very underused. And we have a very high content of helicopters here, including 2 OH-58 CSs, which are anti-helicopter helicopters, and generally necessary for carrying out these kind of pushes. Kind of a weird little metagame forming. People are choosing to only send like 2 or 3 helicopters with infantry, and then just stacking a pile of anti-helicopter helicopters, just because you end up getting more infantry because you kill more of their infantry in air. Now, from WTF, it looks like a pretty massive air rush. Just looking at this, the Z9ATY-90 is an anti-air helicopter from China, and many call it quite overpowered, and it is. It's got very high range, very high speed. We have lots of Hinds here carrying infantry en masse, and there's a few with cheaper options, which will be no doubt post-rush, and we have some W-SOCOLs, which are kind of a hybrid anti-air anti-ground helicopter, and they'll probably be trying to cover the anti-helicopter rule, and they're fairly cheap and fairly cost-effective, but lots of infantry coming here, and as well, very interesting, anti-tank infantry, and actually a Buratino. That is a really expensive opener. The Buratino has a super, super close range. I mean, you're looking at, you might be able to hit this location here from really close range. I mean, this particular map does split out pretty evenly. The demarcation line for this map is right here. And this is how the map spreads out. So in a perfectly situated area, you have Gulf and India being kind of neutral. Echo, Foxtrot, and Delta, or not neutral, I say those are stage, and these 3 are neutral. And for our blue side, generally speaking, in a perfect world, like I said, Bravo and Charlie are going to be guaranteed. And then Foxtrot, Echo, and Delta are going to be neutralized. That's perfect. Now, NATO do have a slight advantage, as I seem to have missed something here. And, whoa. So this is something worth noting. These are super, super Chinese fighters, but with 2 of these guys, they were unable to take out a single block. There is something about quality, and they're actually almost dead from a single block. There are some Mi-28s coming in those bombs, but unfortunately, just not clearly enough. The match has begun. A few Hornets coming in to try and pick off some units. We'll get one. No, he was completely able to flare out of there. I don't know why these Hornets are running away. There's still actually tons of things for them to hit in the air. And will he get a Huey? Yes, gets one of them. So he will reduce infantry. 2 of them gets infantry count done and out. He's completely out of infrareds. He should get out of there and resupply those. And here comes a napalm dropping on top of helicopters. How unusual is this? Actually getting them. Oh my god. That is brutal. And they're going to be stunned and slowed down. We have a Paw Tiger coming in here. It's going to try and fire against the W Skull. The W Skull gets the Paw Tiger. That is huge. And now we're going to see a little bit of infantry versus infantry maybe. Now in the current patch, infantry do deploy a little bit too fast. Super speed actually. And Day gets them out earlier, but the spread here by WTF is much better. And still going to go ahead and try and grab a forward position with this unit. And the Sokols also supporting here. The Dorniers are pretty much all going to be knocked out by the Sokols. Brutal, brutal first engagement. And keep in mind, this is the demarcation line. Look how much more forward the forces of evil, the WTF clan, are. A very, very brutal start. And there's nothing in this position here. This is another demarcation line. Should have something here. A block coming in to try and knock at some hinds. Niwa going to fire. The Niva, sorry. Super, super high rate of fire. Pretty inaccurate. Only carries 2. Got a supply truck there to completely restock it because it's so valuable. And Delta Base also being completely swamped. And he's actually been able to move more of these infantry forward to try and grab an even more forward location. Gone past the demarcation line is the WTF clan. And going to be able to drop some recons. This is actually pretty brutal, getting recons this far behind the lines. You should always have something to spot, which they did. The Gazelle, they just never had an appropriate reaction. And there's also so many helicopters being rushed forward. And that's one of the big powers of these kind of helo rushes, is that after you successfully grab the infantry position, whatever remaining helicopters you have, you can rush forward and try and pick off some tanks, get some vehicles, figure out where the anti-air are, figure out what the positions are. You don't have to kind of have them sit in the base. And the Stormer HVM, very scary type of a vehicle, going to push away some of these helicopters. And it's not suicidal madness. I should note that. Like, these helicopters are going to go functional. They're going to try and get behind here and go for this. I mean, that means that they will have to rally in some anti-air to this location, which means that that's less useful units, because right now what they need is air superiority fighters, and they need, you know, given the makeup that's on the map, they need medium tanks, air superiority fighters, and napalm. That's really what they need. Because if you know, WTF has a ton of infantry, and infantry everywhere, and actually, rather interesting, we're going to see, looks like he's just going to walk infantry around, which is doable because of the mountain type. And we have some Hornets coming out here and trying to patrol the skies, and newer players playing the game trying to figure out the air superiority metagame. You want to have airplanes in the sky, commonly, because they can see other airplanes. And since they can see other airplanes, they'll be able to spot any kind of bombers coming in. So both Hornets will get out of there. Looks like this rocket attack is just going to be very, very brutal. A Lynx coming in here are going to get intercepted by a lot, actually. Laurians and some Mi-2Ts. Here comes the Hornet trying to do a little bit of intercepting action on the Layran. Definitely worth it. Always good to get rid of some of them recons. But there's still one more Layrans. And there's also a little Chinese surprise here. I almost said supplies, as if I'm the Chinese person who can't pronounce the R syllable, which is the common stereotype that the Chinese community have to deal with. And I mean, just the WTF map knowledge here, very good. I have a single squad here. They're trying to grab this corner so that Day cannot grab it themselves. They have the Delta base. Yes, an infantry command is coming in here, so that's very good. And it's going to be a multi-flank infantry attack. That's highly unusual. You basically never see this because it's batshit crazy. No, it is kind of weird. It is a little bit wonky. You're used to seeing tanks leading these kind of charges. Here comes some napalm here. Oh my god. Ugh. Milans are going to roast, as is the Saxon. And these Chiang? J is pronounced CH in the Chinese language. Am I wrong here? If there's any Chinese viewers who are past the Imperial Firewall and able to watch these games, definitely correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm almost certain that the J is pronounced with a CH kind of Chang type of sound. Maybe that is Chien, like that person, that name. And the Chinese air spam here is going to be a bit ridiculous. With one person playing a Chinese national deck, they're going to be able to bring out a lot of Chinese units, a lot of them. The Chinese don't have the best quality planes. No one will deny that. They're actually quite terrible. But what they do have is a lot of cheap ones. And bulk will matter very much in shorter games. Higher quality units will pay out in longer games. This Tornado ECR, for example, very, very high quality anti-radar fighter. Because of it's called ECR because it has insanely high ECR rating, which is going to add into a lot of stats, including map vision. It's very useful to have this thing patrolling around, even if there's nothing for it to kill. Now, this is going to be very brutal. Very brutal. So, this is the map as is. Very, very tiny. So, a lot of people will say that this game is very European escalation-esque and less airland battle-esque. And by this, a lot of people mean that artillery is stronger, it's far more mobile, and more position play. And they're absolutely right. When we're looking at this map, and I seem to have drawn a booby, oops, the map is actually very much shrunk down. Now, in this particular map, you have Days units going to be more clustered up, and just as a good example, look at this cluster here. Very, very clustered. Here's another cluster, and we have a cluster here, and you know, that's 3 marksmen there. That's pretty cluttered. Because this is going to be so cluttered for day, this is going to make artillery from WTF, if they are to actually rally any, super, super effective. It also means with their units spread out, they're going to be able to hit on more flanks. So, a perfect example of this would be, say there's a tank coming down this road here, right? There can be an AT placed here, an AT placed here, and an AT placed here. Whereas if there's a tank coming down a similar road, there's no actual opportunity to do that. The only way that we can actually see an attack from day on that is going to be forward, which is not going to be nearly as effective. So right off the bat, day has the benefit of tactics, and a lot of these cheap Chinese spam planes have been super, super effective, which they are. They're absolutely crazy effective. And seem to have lost control of my mouse. Let's see. Will that fix it? No, it will not. Well, we'll have to see later on. I seem to have a key stuck. There we go. Fixed. And yeah, this Chinese spam here, and who's doing this? Spectre actually using the Chinese spam. Super, super effective. Using them to spot a lot of vehicles, a lot of infantry. Napalming this town preemptively, so he can get his Spetsnaz in after to finish up. Just completely stomping in here. 2 command vehicles in position. One of these was originally destined probably for Delta, but that is not the case. This air rush has been super, super strong, and oh my god. This is an anti-helicopter, the Z9A, one of the most powerful ones in the game, and able to just get an awesome position. Now the unfortunate thing is that we still have day playing as if this was a very static map. They have 6 artillery in it, and they really only need 1 tops. They need to be getting out more tanks, they need to be getting out more napalm. Those are the kind of things they need to get out, and these are, I think, 80 points each, 70 points each. So that's, you know, they've rallied out an extra 210 points worth of artillery, which aren't going to do too much because, you know, it's not this isn't an artillery game. Artillery is great for hitting static positions to soften them up for a push. Not going to deny that. That is absolutely true. It's great if you intend to push, but when you're defending, the things you need are going to be iron bombs, cluster bombs, and napalms. Those are the things that fight defenses very, very well. Because people have problems bringing anti-air units in with pushes. There's only one group of Iglas here with any kind of range on any kind of bomber. Not going to be enough to kill any kind of napalm, even the cheapy ones. And so the Spetsnaz will in fact clear this zone. And they have it. I mean, this is now +6 for WTF. Now we do have some snooper sneaky play here. Attack I'm going to try and come in here, and it might be able to just neutralize this point. This stretch. Okay, it's going to have to happen. It's going to happen. SPz Podhalansky. That wasn't so bad. Definitely a Polish name. I'm not. Yeah, it's gotta be Polish, right? Yeah, it's Polish. Of course, it's Polish. I've worked with 9 Poles in my life, and every single Pole, their end named in ski, and it's not a coincidence. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering about the NATO air rush, super powerful air rush, this is the helicopter of choice. The SP-53G is 30 points, has no weapons on it. Oh, it's on 20 points. Must have 30 points for the infantry in it, my bad. But it's very fast, 300 kilometers per hour. Super fast at deployment. And that's the kind of things you want to open the game with, are those very expensive transport helicopters that will move you across the field very quickly. And once you've actually used them, you can actually empty them, bring them back to your main base, and load in ground vehicles and use these guys to get your units to the front line much faster. On these larger maps, it makes a lot of sense. That's in case people are wondering, and there's actually 3 Challenger marksmen here, which will have a pretty susceptible amount of anti-infantry strength here. Their rate of fire, of course, is very silly fast, and will get a stun effect on. So very good, and just position these infantry around to try and cover a lot of flanks and a lot of angles, and relying very heavily on this these napalm and these KE bombs to try and keep these infantry pushes going. So highly unusual style here. And oh my god, this is such a nub move. Oh, poor day. You always want to cover every single road. So, I mean, this road here is not covered currently. They need to have something in here or a recon forward, because this Panzer Grenadier could hit. They just have nothing covering that road. And these 2 Chinese tanks are actually going to find the Leopard, maybe? That's brutal. But it will get some flak Panzer kills, which is very worthwhile. But these Chinese tanks are moving in, and do they have vision? Not yet, but they have forced a move, and flak Panzer Jeopard is actually moving to range. So these tanks being silly effective, just isolating that unit. We should have an infantry command coming here. Actually, nope, sorry, it's going to be a full-on command. No need for infantry here, he says. I'm going to go with the big full vehicle command. And still, like, this push is still kind of going on, still being effective. There's commandosis moving in. They picked off the recons, but now the commandosis are here. They're kind of special forces, so they're going to be able to do insanely high amounts of damage to these Royal Marines. Actually able to completely drain this guy of infrared missiles, using him very successfully beyond the first rush. And these Spetsnaz actually, you know, despite having no RPG, still doing decent amounts of damage to these tanks. Now, this is the right response from Dave. They should be getting out more of these guys, but they shouldn't be getting out as much anti-air. These BL-105s can be good because they will be able to deal with some anti-tank damage. And special ones, the special Jednotskis coming in here, doing lots of damage actually. I don't know why these guys haven't died yet. And we'll continue moving forward into the tank lineup, and we should go down relatively easy here. Yes, maybe. What? Why are you moving over here, ASI Plus? And almost getting another command kill. 1 hit point left on him. WTF absolutely raffle stomping the day, clan, and it's worth noting, since this is almost over, that you know, these are communities, Day and WTF. They're gaming communities, and they're both open for membership, by the way. And if you want to play with them, feel free. On the forums, I'll even put their clan recruitment things in the description if you want to go straight to it, and try and apply for either of these ones, if at all that you become interested in playing with either of these guys. And Mr. Jen, who is in fact Proslo, gonna throw away some modal stripper keys. WTF actually leaving like, sup, yeah, I left the game. So what? This game's over, but it is actually over. And this has been a very brutal rush, and I'm actually surprised that that they stayed around, because, dear God, myself and pretty much everyone included, if I lost all 3 of these bases, and then I have this encroachment, I would just leave. I would not stick around to see the end of this. So yeah, you know, congratulations to WTF. It's a friendly game. There's no real competition here. There's no ranking or anything like that. It's not playing for keeps. But yeah, they did very well, and looks like I might lose a mortar here, the Law of M, to the Jeong Gok die. Might lose both actually. No, didn't quite lose both. But just the number of infantry position here is absolutely ridiculous for WTF. And actually, maybe look at this TACOM as well. Strelcy Pohalski, not going to be quite the match that we're looking for here. Actually, look at this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. WTF. You must have so much love. They've actually smoked out this area to try and save this one infantry unit. Unfortunately, the Marines did move up, so it's not going to work, but just the idea, which is, you know, WTF has been doing that style for a while. Beautiful. T-64A going to get picked off. Not a big deal, given the match being what it is. And instead of actually just, you know, artillerying this TACOM, they've decided to smoke out and try and save this this squad here. Yeah, they actually saved it before the match ended. So, you know, crazy match. Top, of course, didn't do so hot. The kills, you know, was not badly in their favor, but their fundamental strategy was flawed. Their opener was flawed. Their fundamental positioning strategy was flawed. And although they are doing good trades with the units they're using, they will need to eventually work on coordinating stronger